groovy.
God save the king, and thanks for tuning in to another cult horror movie review.
You have lovely sheep.
I recently decided to revisit for the second time what is considered to be one, if not the best, most quintessential werewolf movie of all time. This, my friends, is An American Werewolf in London.
Queen Elizabeth is a man! Shakespeare's French!
A classic comedy horror film that is wildly considered to be one of the best of the 1980s. It boasts a memorable cast and some terrific special effects by Rick Baker. But I know I'm in the minority here. I believe this film also has a considerable amount of flaws which keep it from being entirely enjoyable, but we'll get to that in a bit. But before I hide away from the full moon, please like this video, subscribe, and request a cult movie in the comments below, and please consider supporting me on Patreon. The link is in the description down below.
No.
Two American friends, David and Jack, go on a backpacking trip in northern England.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, look around. Isn't this a fun place?
On a dark and cold night, Jack is torn to shreds by a terrifying creature, and David is left severely wounded. Soon, David gets visions of Jack visiting him from the grave, telling him they were attacked by a werewolf, and he will become one in 2 days when the moon is full. I read some reviews which said the acting was no good, but I thought it was fine. Actor David Naughton playing David was funny and believable. Him and his bright red coat will always stick with me. Jenny Agutter was something to look at back in the day if you ask me. And John Woodvine as the doctor trying to get to the bottom of this werewolf curse was also memorable. He was one of my favorite characters. Of course, this being written and directed by John Landis, the first half gifts us with a decent blend of comedies and scares, something which of course An American Werewolf in London is remembered and loved for. And finding that right balance is not easy to do. But by the second half, it felt like the jokes were fizzling away, or weren't hitting the same anymore, which was disappointing. A bit of an odd change in tone occurs. There are the hilariously twisted nightmares David keeps having after being bitten. And one of them features his house being attacked by a bunch of Nazi werewolves and other monsters blasting at everything in sight with machine guns. It's gonzo crazy. Practical effects artist Rick Baker really did kill it on the two transformation scenes that happen. Today it's still something to admire, but back when it was first released, moviegoers must have been amazed. Baker also did a good job on the makeup of the slowly decaying Jack. It was impressive.
You look awful. Thank you.
The film knows when it's going camp, and it's not ashamed of it. There are references to Lon Chaney Jr.'s movie The Wolfman several times, kinda clever if you ask me.
Lon Chaney Jr., Universal Studios maintain that's the mark of the Wolfman.
In fact, Baker rightfully earned an Academy Award for Best Makeup Effects, and was the first in his category to ever do so. And this actually brings me to one of the movie's flaws. I wished there was more werewolf in it. I wanted to see more of the creature running around killing people. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a clever idea to leave the creature in the dark at first to help create mystery. But by the second half, I was expecting to see way more effects, and more than just a bunch of fast cut scenes, but it doesn't happen. I don't know if it was because of budget constraints, or if it was because the director was trying to please the MPAA board, but yeah, if only Baker's effects were more present on screen. And a second problem I do have with this cult classic is that there's actually not a lot going on between when David gets out of the hospital and before he transforms into a werewolf. I don't know, man. It seems to me like Landis had a hard time conceiving ideas and creating entertaining continuity. I got hella bored watching some scenes, and I won't spoil the ending for anyone here, but I found it way too half-assed. They could have added some seasoning to it because it feels very rushed. Now overall, don't get me wrong, this is not a bad horror film. I just fail to see why it's held in such high standards. I think it needs to come back down a little, but I would recommend horror and especially werewolf fans giving this one a look. On its side, it's got some timeless effects, some good gore, a few memorable performances, good atmosphere when it wants to, and it'll even give you a few laughs.